Hello, everybody. Welcome to GM Joel's Chess Week Recap. Of course, with your host, Joel Benjamin. Hello, everybody. This is our first installment of the new show, and I think it's going to be a good one because it was a pretty active week in the chess world. We had a major round robin tournament conclude this week, the Tal Memorial, and I'll be reporting on that. And also after that, I'll have some news and games from the Isle of Man tournament, which is not quite over. I'll have that for you, and we start with the Tal Memorial, which resulted in a huge win for Ian Nepomniachtchi. I think that's really his first major round robin success. He's been performing pretty well, maintaining a high rating, performed well in the Olympiad, and he's really becoming one of the very top Russian players, which is not an easy thing to do. He scored 6 points out of 9, which was a clear first place, half a point ahead of Anish Giri, who showed that he can do more than draw games this tournament. Uh, they were followed by Levan Aronian, Vishy Anand at 5, and then there was a big group at 4.5: Kramnik, Mamedyarov, Li Chao, Svidler, and then there were two guys bringing up the rear with bad scores. Tomaszewski only 3.5, and Gelfand, Boris Gelfand, an especially miserable result, maybe the worst of his career, only 2 points, and that enabled there to be lots of plus scores. So first, we're going to focus on Nepomniachtchi, who was excellent with the white pieces. He scored 3 wins. That was all he needed. He went undefeated. And we start with a pretty quick one against Tomaszewski that really got him off to a fine footing. Sometimes a good start can really propel you. And in this game, Nepomniachtchi uses the Scotch, which is one of his favorites, and really kind of an underrated opening because it does avoid a lot of the drudgery of the Roy Lopez, the Berlin, and the anti-martial systems. Can often lead to a sharp game, and knight f6 tends to lead to sharper positions than bishop c5 because we get into this stuff, which is very unbalanced. Often you see queenside castling by one or both players. It's possible that both of them will castle queenside. c4, and black can play bishop a6 or knight b6. Here Tomaszewski goes for the pin. f4, so white supports that center. And queen f2. Sometimes white just tries to fianchetto the white bishop, but here he moves the queen out of the way so the bishop can come out directly, and white is able to castle in this fashion. And knight f6, this move makes kind of a strange impression. The knight usually goes to b6, and it just ends up not working well for Tomaszewski, who I think was kind of making things up here. Now bishop a3, white picks up a tempo on the queen, so that's his reason for not playing bishop to b2. d6. Of course, the move queen f2, that attacked the knight, so the knight had to move right away. Knight c3. And even though the queen f2 allowed for the bishop to come out, Tomaszewski is actually going to castle queenside. Now, castling is a large part about where you want to put your king, but in this case, Nepomniachtchi puts his king where it's a little bit exposed, but he just soups up his development, that rook right away in the d file, and chasing the knight back to e8. And surprisingly, the black queen is going to end up in trouble in a couple of moves. g3, bishop b7. Well, the bishop is going to have to defend this pawn in another move. And f6. So Tomaszewski, under pressure, tries to fight back and open up some lines, but this turns out to be a big mistake, as he's just not ready to blast things open. He needed to just kind of just defend the position, and white would